Today I'm going to show you how to create this right here. This is my lobster ravioli in a vodka cream sauce. Yes, there is a little bit of vodka in here, but that is what makes the sauce. So if you love pasta and if you love seafood, we are going to make this lobster ravioli. Everything is from scratch. So we're going to start with making the filling for the ravioli. So the very first thing that you want to do is go ahead and grab the items that is in the left hand top corner. So we have an 8-ounce lobster tail. You can get a bigger one if you want more lobster. I have my herb blend. I'll link that video below. I have some olive oil, some fresh ricotta. This is a half a pound of it. And then we also have some freshly grated Parmesan Romano blend cheese. So this is just from my local Italian market. And then we also have some cream cheese. You only need 4 ounces. They come in 8 ounces. So the very first thing that you want to do is remove all of the lobster meat from the lobster tail. The way that I do mine is I take some kitchen scissors and I cut down the top and around the bottom, and then I go ahead and slide the lobster meat out. If you do this correctly, you should not have any issues. It should not be difficult to get the lobster meat out unless you have a really, really big lobster tail and you just have no patience at all. But just do as I'm doing right here. If you do not trust it, all you have to do is take a knife and try to cut down the top and the bottom. These typically do not have a vein in it, but still look out for it. These are the smaller lobster tails because we do not want a whole lot of meat in here. Next, you are going to go ahead and put the shells to the side. You can keep that for a seafood broth. So now only thing we're going to do next is we're going to take the actual lobster meat and we are going to roughly chop it. You do not want these really, really small. You don't want them really, really thick. You actually want to roughly chop these. Keep in mind that you are still looking for any veins that may come out. The way that I did mine is I cut them in fours and then I lined them up and then I just roughly chopped it. So these lobster tails, you do want them to be fresh. If you have frozen ones, go ahead and use that. But typically, I always say that fresh is better. So if you go to your local fish market, they definitely should have some. And I believe Kroger has them. And I believe that Meyer even has lobster tails sitting out for you. You can also grab a whole lobster. Sometimes a whole lobster is less than the lobster tail. If you go to Sam's Club, those lobster tails are too big. We don't want a meaty lobster tail. We actually just want a nice size one because you want to be able to taste the meat. It is going to be mixed in together. You just don't want too much of it. You do not want it to overpower any of the other ingredients that we have. So like I said here, we are just going to roughly chop them. If you have no confidence in yourself in taking the lobster meat out of the lobster tail, ask whoever you are buying the lobster tail from if they can do it. Most times the butcher will do it, but it does depend on where you are at. So after you get the lobster meat roughly chopped, you are going to take a big deep bowl. Make sure you have a deep bowl. Keep in mind we are adding a lot of stuff in here. You are going to drop the lobster meat into the bowl, and now you are going to go ahead and grab that ricotta. So I used about a half a pound of ricotta. You do want to use the whole thing. So as you put it in there, you just want to break it up and drop it into the bowl. You do want to add all of it. The reason why I say add all of it is because you can make the raviolis and then freeze them for up to 2 months. So after you get the ricotta into the bowl, you are going to season your mixture. So you are going to take about 2 to 3 tablespoons of my herb blend. I will link a video to how I actually make this so you can see what is in it and what is not. I do suggest that you do not go past 3 tablespoons. Again, you do not want to overpower this mixture. After you get the seasonings in there, you're going to add about 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And for this, I don't suggest you go past 2 tablespoons. So now we're going to take the Parmesan Romano blend fresh, and you are going to add about a 1/3 cup of that. After you get that in there, you are going to take 1 to 2 tablespoons of some white cracked pepper. It is very important to use white pepper, not black pepper, in this mixture. So now we are going to mix it up. Don't forget to add 4 ounces of that cream cheese. So that's about half of that package. You don't want to add a lot of that because in the sauce we are going to add some mascarpone cheese. So you just want to get that mixed up. Just use your hands. And after you get the mixture, you are going to make your pasta dough. I will link the video of how I created this dough in the description box, and we are going to make a whole sheet. So you're going to roll the whole sheet out, and then we're going to stuff half of it. So you want to take a ravioli stamp or the ravioli roller. I had the stamps in this case, and then you are going to use the stamps as a guide. So after you press it down, you are going to take a spoonful of that mixture and you are going to place it in the middle of the stamp outer line. So I did about a yard of the sheet first. So this created about 5 to 6 raviolis. After you get the stamps out and the inside filled, what you're going to do is take that other end of the sheet, and very, very simple, you are going to pull that other sheet over the bottom half. So you're going to do exactly what I'm doing right here. You're going to lay it right on top, and you are going to begin to press it. So when you press it, you are going to push out any air bubbles. So basically all you're doing is resembling a ravioli. You just want to push the ends in, push all of the air out. If you have to move the pasta sheet around, just go ahead and do it. It is very important to push all of the air out. So you might have to use your fingers to go ahead and form it. You are really just shaping a ravioli. Please take your time in doing this, because if you do not push out all the air and if you do not firmly press it down, the raviolis will open as you cook them and you will have a big mess. So please do exactly what you see me doing right here. Now we're going to take the ravioli stamp. After you get everything formed, you might have to go back through it like I did, because if you want it, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want all the air out. So now we're going to take the stamp and you are going to firmly press down, and it's going to cut through to create your ravioli. One suggestion that I do suggest you do is to take some of the semolina flour and dust the bottom surface so it does not stick. I did it on mine, but I didn't put enough, so that's why you see it sticking just a little bit. But if you put a little bit more than what I had, it will definitely come out easy. So now we are going to remove the excess pasta dough and lift the raviolis off of your surface. Place those on some parchment paper and let those chill in the refrigerator. We are going to create the vodka cream sauce. So you're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter to 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and you are going to infuse the butter with the garlic. Next, you're going to take 1/2 can of stewed tomatoes, and then you're going to add some tomato sauce. So you're going to add 1/3 cup of tomato sauce to the stewed tomatoes. You're going to mix that in well, and now we're going to add about 1 to 2 tablespoons of white pepper to the actual sauce. So next you're going to take about 2 tablespoons of Italian seasonings, and you are going to add that to the sauce. After you get that added in, you are going to take about 1 tablespoon of dried basil, and you are going to add that to your sauce as well. So we are going to add fresh basil at the end. This is a quick tip that if you use dried herbs, you want to add them in the beginning so they can get rehydrated. If you are using fresh herbs, you want to add that at the end. So after you get all of your seasonings into the pasta sauce, you are going to simply mix this together. After you get this well combined, what you want to do is let it simmer for about 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes, we are going to add 1/3 cup of vodka. It does not matter what kind of vodka that you choose. It doesn't matter if it's cheap. It doesn't matter if it's expensive. It is actually just going to cook down and create a sauce. If you want some really, really expensive vodka, go ahead and use it, but it really doesn't matter. It's going to change into a sauce. So after you let this one simmer, after the 5 minutes, you go ahead and add the 1/3 cup of vodka. Please don't add any more than that. You do not need that much. So during that process, we are going to heavily salt some water for the pasta to boil. After the water is boiling, you are going to go ahead and add your ravioli. Do not crowd your pan. I think I did like 3, well, I think 4 or 5. Well, I did 4. And you are going to let that boil until it's al dente. Now we are going to add the same 1/3 cup of pasta water. in the beginning, I told you after you simmered it for 5 minutes, you add the vodka. After the vodka is soaked up and cooked down, we're going to add the pasta water. So after you put the pasta water in, you're going to give it a quick stir. You're going to let everybody mix in together. After everybody is mixed in well, what you're going to do next is we're going to turn it into a cream sauce. So in order to turn a sauce to a cream sauce, you are going to simply add cream. So we're gonna take about a third cup of mascarpone cheese. This is an Italian cream cheese, and you are going to melt this slowly into your homemade vodka pasta sauce. If you cannot find a mascarpone cheese, like I said, go ahead and use regular cream cheese. But if you find a mascarpone cheese, it is even better. This is what this recipe calls for. So after you get the mascarpone cheese melted into the pasta sauce, what you're going to do next is you are going to take the raviolis that you have created that is boiling in that pasta water, and you are simply going to add that to the sauce. You want to slowly do this. Keep in mind that the sauce is hot and that pasta water is hot, so I would hate for anybody to burn themselves. So like I said, please slowly do this. After you get the raviolis into the saucepan, what you're going to do is flip them over, just give them a nice bathe in this sauce, and you're just going to evenly distribute it. So at this point, you can turn the sauce off, and you are completely done. You've just created some lobster ravioli in a vodka cream sauce. So now it's time to plate. You can plate it however you want to, but this is just me showing you how to plate it. You can garnish it however you want to. You don't have to garnish it. What I did was I took some Italian seasonings and I sprinkled that on top. I put a lemon wedge in the middle, and then I added some parsley. You can add basil. I think I couldn't find my basil, or something happened to my basil. That's why I didn't have it, but you get the picture. You can add the fresh basil, or you cannot add the fresh basil. So at the end, this will be your finished product. You can do this as a date night, or you can just make a pasta dinner if you would like to. So let me know how you like this recipe, and I will see you in my next video.